All right, welcome back here to the Hill on NewsNation. One of the controversial issues that President-elect Donald Trump is expected to weigh in on is the future of the popular, I believe the most popular social media app in this country, TikTok, or at least one of them. The Washington Post reporting that the president-elect is expected to try to halt a possible potential ban. Now, there are an estimated 170 million users of TikTok in the United States. Under a law passed earlier this year, bipartisan, Congress and the Biden administration gave TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, a deadline of January 19th, one day before Inauguration Day, to find a new owner not based in China or lose access to the American market. Joining me now, NewsNation legal contributor Jesse Weber, Scott Bolden as well, NewsNation contributor as well. Hello to you both. This one is fascinating, Jesse and Scott, because you've got this January 19th date of Jesse, of a sale needing to happen, or basically you're off the App Store. ByteDance ain't selling. And Congress essentially tried to president-proof this, right? So what happens next if Donald Trump's on the other side of this?
So I see this working in a couple of ways. Donald Trump could ask President Biden to delay for 90 days. I don't think Biden is going to do that because I don't think he wants to give Trump the win, and I don't think ByteDance is going to sell. What I think what will happen is once Trump comes into office, he can sign an executive order to try to repeal the law. Don't think that's going to work because of constitutional reasons. He could ask Congress to try to repeal the law. The problem with that is majority of Republicans supported the ban. Can he get the support to do that? There's another option. He can direct his Attorney General and the Department of Justice to just never enforce the law. Don't prosecute anybody. Don't go after anybody civilly for doing this. And then I actually saw this. It's a little bit of an eerie, different one. He might be able to interpret the law to say that ByteDance actually did divest its interest from it, but that's kind of weird legal reasoning and looking at the statute in an interesting way. So there's a number of different ways this could work out, but it's interesting to see.
A number of ways, Scott, though, if one of them, which Jesse brings up, is, you know what, we're not going to, I can't do anything about it right now. We're just not going to prosecute it. If you're Tim Cook, right, what are you going to say? Like, okay, you can go forward with this? How could you trust that?
It's actually no man's land, and no company wants to be in no man's land. You know, Jesse, one other thing I thought about is that there's litigation pending in this case, and through some motion process, both parties could ask the court to stay enforcement of the January 19th deadline, arguing some legal issue or arguing that without that stay, there may be a deal in place, for example, or that what they've argued about the First Amendment, the constitutionality of it, that deserves a stay because there's a new president, and there may be a deal in the works. And remember, Steve Mnuchin is still out there.
That's true. And I think he's 100%, Scott's 100% right. So there's a court opinion that's scheduled for December. Whoever it's favorable for, they're going to appeal it to the Supreme Court. I'm not sure the Supreme Court's going to take up this issue. It does raise a very interesting First Amendment argument, although I'll tell you, ByteDance kind of made a mistake when they were arguing this. They admitted that it was the Chinese company that directs its content. Foreign companies, foreign countries do not have First Amendment rights. So that's a big issue for them as well.
So let me cut to the chase here. TikTok. Half the country is believed to be on the thing, whether you like it or not. And there's lots of conversations here about social media, our children, so on and so forth. But half the country is on it, give or take. Jesse, next year, let's go after January 20th. Do you see a scenario in which TikTok does not exist in the United States?
I think it's a realistic possibility it doesn't exist for a number of factors based on what I said.
That it does or doesn't?
That it doesn't exist. But look, I will tell you, maybe the Congress will give him, will support Donald Trump in this. I just not necessarily seeing it happen. But I think there's a little bit of a difficulty here given the timeline.
Yeah, but beyond the timeline, though, Jesse, wouldn't you agree that you still have to, we've talked about everything but the national security interests here. If this is a spy platform for the Chinese, and that's what we haven't seen, that's going to be playing in the minds of the legislators, the president, and all the information that we have not seen, notwithstanding how popular this platform is. I think that's really what's going to drive it, at least behind the scenes.
This is one of the first bipartisan efforts. They got together and actually said TikTok should be banned. So I think there's this realistic possibility we might not see TikTok on the app stores come 2025.
All right, got to leave it there. Scott, Jesse, thank you both. Appreciate it. Still much more ahead here on the Hill. The president Thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.